Super Rugby round number 3, folks, and I think we're fair to say it's been another banger. A lot of close games, a lot of games which had lead changes, final minute drama. Goodness me, it's a hell of a season thus far. I don't know how long we can keep up this kind of pace, how long we can keep these kind of close margins, but I'm enjoying it while it's here. Nobody looks that far off the pace. And the Chiefs look maybe a bit ahead of everyone else, but it's looking a competitive competition thus far in 2025. Let's wrap up the 5 games that were held during this kind of culture round. Go through them pretty quick, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Which one was the game of the week for you guys? I have my pick. But as I said, we'll go through them. Moana Pacific against the Highlanders. That was the opening game. It was the first home game for the Moana boys at North Harbour Stadium this year. I think there was a pretty good crowd out there at North Harbour Stadium. I think a lot of people probably came out to see Ardie Savea in his first home game for Moana. And I think there's probably a better crowd than we usually got at Mount Smart, to be fair. So maybe that's an encouraging sign for Moana going forward, because them actually finding a fan base to come and attend their games has been a challenge. But seems like a step in the right direction, so that was pleasing. But they didn't start that well. The Landers went out to an early lead. Hasty got a try within a couple of minutes, but Moana hit back. Tries through MOAvHIG, and then WARvDRU managed to get it kind of back even. But ultimately, you feel like Moana's going to rue a couple of things. One is the Caleb Tangitau try, which was an intercept length of the field job, which when Moana had all the pressure, had all the momentum, it was basically almost like a 14-pointer, because Moana were not that far away from scoring themselves, but suddenly they're back under their own sticks. Tangitau's try absolutely switches the momentum, and then the Highlanders are able to really wrestle the rest of the first half away from the Moana guys. Other tries to Tulea and Dunshee means they had a 31-10 lead at halftime, but the Moana guys made a good second half comeback. Other tries again through Havili, and also Savea managed to get one, which was a proper bit of a miracle try from an aerial ball. Not something you usually expect from one of your Lucies. And then Tupou on 75 minutes, but missed conversions. When you consider the Highlanders go scoreless in the second half, they had 2 from 5 from the tee, Moana, in the 2-point game, whereas the Landers were 5 from 5. So yeah, sadly, it's one of those days. William Havili hit one against the post. That was a very kickable one early on. Yeah, unfortunate for Moana. But hey, good win for the Landers away from home. And it's just pleasing, even though Moana are winless, as I said, that they bloody competitive. That wasn't a hiding. That's a game that they easily could have won if they'd kicked their goals. So, yeah, Savea won, I think, a whopping 5 turnovers in that game. He is still absolutely the business, along with his try. This winger, Michael Manson, for the Landers, had heaps of run meters, beat 5 defenders, set up a try for Hasty. Good footwork from him, so very, very encouraging, I think, from both sides in the opening game. That was also the most viewed game in terms of the highlights packages thus far, with like 133,000 views as I record this video. But it's the first game out, so it's had the most time to accumulate those views. But good to see some interest in a game which, you know, not two of the kind of necessarily big gun sides from last year's season anyway. Second game of the Friday games was the Waratahs up against the Drua. Drua have got some bloody fantastic fans. Like, even away from home, you could absolutely feel the Drua away fans, which was very, very pleasing. In this game, the Drua, like, again, they lose and they are winless, but they're looking decent away from home. Like, they've pushed the Tars and they've pushed the Canes away from home. So that's encouraging going into this 2025 year. If they can start picking up some wins and they are competitive away from home, you know, that's always been the kind of missing ingredient from the Drua. Gleeson managed to get a couple in this game. One was a pretty soft one. One was a close range bit of power. One's one that the Drua won't like to look back on, because it was kind of loose ball that Gleeson was able to pounce on. And Pareki managed to get one from a maul. And the Drua guys got one from a maul as well. Dolakoto got one. Loganimasi got one, again, from kind of loose ball. A little bit kind of fortuitous, but you got to be there to finish it. And then Karawalevu's got some steps for an absolute wonder finish. But it's a 78th minute penalty try for the Tars that puts them back in front. The Drua were leading this one with less than 3 minutes to play. But yeah, it is a penalty try that sees the Tars manage to get over the line. If you're looking at the attacking stats in this game, the Drua had 10 clean breaks to 6, which is a phenomenal amount. So you might think, damn, why don't they win this one? Well, the tackling numbers, the Tars are at 83%, which is like okay without being great. The Drua, once again, and it was similar in their last loss to the Canes as well, in the 70s, 74%. You're not going to win many games if you fall off that many tackles. Although, again, it was bloody close. But that's from a couple of weeks looking at the Drua, one of their kind of key stats that needs to improve. They need to stop falling off as many tackles as they do. But as I said, great fans away from home. And, yeah, they're looking a threat away from home this season in Super Rugby. First of the Saturday games, though, saw the Chiefs taking on the Brumbies, two of the kind of heavy hitters in recent years in Super Rugby. But the Chiefs are just looking on another level from everyone else. I don't know that they're looking quite untouchable, though, because the Brumbies, despite, getting, in terms of the margin, the biggest score put on them this week, they still looked a threat. They still looked like they could score some points against the Chiefs. And they did put 34 on. They still managed to score, was it like 6 tries? So they conceded a few as well, but the Brumbies gave them a good crack. The Brumbies scored first through Frost. The Chiefs hit back. I mean, ALB got one. Josh Jacob got one. Declan Meredith got one. It was a proper kind of tit-for-tat early start. It was 15 points apiece. Then the Chiefs started the second half well. Quintu Paius having quite the season. He's looking like absolutely a sure thing for getting the kind of black jersey back on after having, that huge injury layoff and then falling kind of down the pecking order in terms of his All Blacks career. But man, he's playing some good rugby. Rampling comes off the bench and scores like with his first touch within a few seconds of coming on. He ends up getting 2. Muirhead also gets 2. Corey Toole showed some real speed. Like the Brumbies got it to 29-29 on 62 minutes and then bloody couldn't take their restart. Chiefs went immediately and scored. And the Chiefs kind of pulled away from them in that last stanza of the game. But as I said, the Brumbies were in it. It wasn't like the Brumbies just got flogged and scored some incidental points. No, this was an arm wrestle game until the Chiefs just had too much to take it away from them. So that's another one kind of similar to the Drua, where you look at the Brumbies tackle percentage and it's 76, which is marginally better than the Drua. But yeah, shipping 49 points, it's always going to be hard to win. The Chiefs tackle percentage much better in the 90s, although they conceded a few tries as well. DMAC had 158 metres, played both 15 and 10 in this one. Luke Reimer had 3 turnovers, didn't get himself on the board this week in terms of his try scoring, but yeah, clean breaks 11-8, so plenty of free-flowing rugby in that one, as is evidenced by the kind of mighty long scoreline. And then Josh Jacob with the final kick of the game to convert a try. I think it kind of fell off the tee, so he just bloody drop kicked the thing and he nailed it. So, yeah, very, very entertaining game. But the Chiefs, as I mentioned, are looking the business. Blues and Hurricanes. Blues get their season underway with a win at last in the third round, 33-29. But a close game. I did a full match review for that one. But it was just interesting to see, in a nutshell, the Canes opting for threes, whereas the Blues were opting for the tries. The Blues tries largely came from the forwards. A penalty try, Rikitelli, Suafoa, and Satutu, plus a wonder try through Talea on 70 minutes. Also a red card to Satutu, which didn't help with 5 minutes to play. Only the 2 tries for the Canes through Godfrey and Noholo, but largely quite happy to punish the Blues' ill discipline with kicks from Harry Godfrey. But the Canes, I think, will look at the second half with a bit of frustration that they weren't able to break the Blues down, because they had all the ball, all the territory, camped in the Blues half for large periods of the second, but only managed to get 1 try out of it. But credit to the Blues defense when they tackled the house down. So, yeah, they get a losing bonus point on this one, the Canes, but that was a game they, based on the second half, as I said, possession and whatnot, probably should have won. They finished with 60% plus possession and territory, but the Blues tackled at 86%. Mark Talea had 82 metres, scored a fine try, and I mean, it was Bodie Barrett that set it up. Bodie Barrett, Caleb Clark, Mark Talea linking up when the Blues actually decided to run it. They have got the back line to punish when they decide to use them. Peter Lakai had 16 carries. Also busy for the Canes, but yeah, Canes had chances to win it, but have to settle for a losing bonus point in that one. And then the final one, the Reds against the Force. I reckon that might be the game of the round if you haven't seen it in full. that game is also proper bonkers. It's got some proper craziness in this one. Like the Force had a 14-0 lead early on. Tizano keeps his try-scoring run going. He is doing remarkably well this season. Darcy Swain also got one, but the Reds came back into it through Fluke, who scored. I think the second one was the one that was an absolute banger from kick return, but he got two. Liner got one as well, so it was 17-14 at halftime with the Force in front. Remember, the Force going into this game undefeated. But the second half, it kind of continues on in a kind of similar vein. Like Tizano gets another. Fluke, like I mentioned, gets that banger of a try. And then the Reds, with a minute to play and 3 points behind, have an option to take a penalty right in front or to go for the corner. And they go for the corner. They go for the win. And it pays off because Filippo Delgunu is able to get it done. So, yeah, hell of a bold call from the Reds. 24 Force, 28 Reds. Losing bonus point for the Force, but yeah, they could have been 3 from 3. But the Reds, they are 2 from 2. Yeah, as I said, gutsy call, and it pays off for them this time. The Force had way more ball, 57%, but the clean breaks was all the Reds 7-1. So yeah, interesting game between two teams, which got a little bit of a rivalry going on, I feel like. So it's a pleasing one to see that it was a proper arm wrestle game. Some good quality rugby. Really pleasing. The next week's fixtures, we'll see the Blues taking on the Brumbies at home. Brumbies, they're only one win thus far, so they need to get their campaign going too. The Drua are home to the Chiefs. It'll be interesting to see what kind of side the Chiefs send over to Fiji. Fiji usually a lot stronger at home. Moana Pacific are home to the Hurricanes. That's also one where both sides are kind of in pretty desperate need of a win. The Waratahs and the Force are having to kind of travel back and forth east and west quite a lot. But the Waratahs are another one of those undefeated sides. And then the Crusaders, who've been on the bye, will be back in action with the Reds in Christchurch. And the Highlanders will be on the bye for this one. So Chiefs are top of the table. They are 3-0. The Reds are second, also undefeated. In the Highlanders, Force, Waratahs, and Hurricanes round out the top 6. So the Blues, the Brumbies are still outside the top 6, and then the Drua and Moana Pacifica are still the two winless sides. But like I mentioned, there's been plenty of close games, which is very encouraging for the comp. It's been an issue in the past where there's been some kind of proper easy beat teams who are miles off the pace. After 3 rounds, we're not seeing it just yet. Still plenty of rugby to go, but fingers crossed it stays like this because it's been phenomenal stuff. You guys let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'd appreciate that. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.